Long ago, in the magnificent kingdom of Elindra, an ancient law was whispered from one generation to the next. No one must ever enter the glass forest. The elders would say the trees themselves were alive, that they could murmur secrets on the wind, and that any soul who dared to touch their crystalline bark would be turned into glass, frozen for all time. But in a small, cozy cottage at the edge of the kingdom lived a young girl named Lila. She didn't believe in scary stories. With a heart full of courage and eyes that sparkled with curiosity, she listened to her grandmother's tales not with fear, but with a yearning for adventure. She dreamed of worlds beyond their quiet village, of quests and wonders she had only read about in books. One fateful evening, a shadow fell over Elindra. A terrible, relentless drought crept across the land, leaving a trail of dust and despair. The wells, once overflowing with cool, clear water, became nothing but empty, echoing holes. The great rivers that snaked through the kingdom, the very lifeblood of the people, slowed to a trickle and then vanished, their beds cracking under the merciless sun. A panic began to spread. In hushed, desperate tones, people began to speak of an old legend, a story once dismissed as folklore. They whispered of the crystal spring, a mythical source of endless water hidden deep within the forbidden glass forest. It was said that a single drop from this spring could revive the entire kingdom. While others were paralyzed by fear, Lila knew what she had to do. That night, under the soft glow of a crescent moon, she hugged her grandmother tightly, a silent promise in her embrace. Clutching a small, flickering lantern that cast dancing shadows on the walls, she whispered her goodbyes and slipped out into the darkness. Alone, with only her resolve to guide her, she set off towards the shimmering, forbidden silhouette of the glass forest. The moment Lila stepped past the invisible boundary, the air grew still and thick with magic. The forest was unlike anything she had ever imagined. The trees didn't have bark and leaves, but trunks of pure, polished glass that soared towards the sky, branching into delicate, crystalline canopies. They shimmered and refracted the moonlight, casting a kaleidoscope of colors onto the forest floor. Each leaf was a perfect, tiny mirror, and as she walked deeper, she saw thousands of her own reflections staring back at her. In one, she saw her fear, her wide eyes and trembling hands. In another, her courage, her jaw set with determination. A soft, ethereal voice seemed to emanate from the trees themselves, echoing through the silent woods. "Turn back, child of flesh," it whispered, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, "or you will shine forever among us, a statue of glass." Lila's heart hammered against her ribs, but she remembered the thirsty faces of her village, the worried eyes of her grandmother. She took a steadying breath, held her lantern a little higher, and stepped forward. Her voice, though quiet, did not waver. "If I must shine," she declared to the forest, "then I will shine for my people." As her words faded, the ground beneath her feet began to sparkle, as if strewn with diamond dust. A new light appeared before her, soft and silvery. Out from behind a great glass oak stepped a creature of pure moonlight, Silver Fox. Its fur glowed with a gentle, otherworldly light, and its eyes held an ancient intelligence. "I am the guardian of this forest," the fox said, its voice surprisingly gentle. "The crystal spring is not a prize to be simply taken. To prove your worth and reach it, you must first answer 3 riddles." Lila looked at the magical creature, her initial fear replaced by a surge of resolve. This was a challenge, a test the very essence of the adventures she had always dreamed of. She gave a firm, brave nod. "I am ready." The silver fox dipped its head in acknowledgement, its moonlit fur casting a soft halo around it. It sat back on its haunches, its glowing eyes fixed on Lila. "Then listen closely to the first riddle," it said, its voice weaving through the crystalline air. "I have no mouth, yet I whisper secrets to the stones. I have no feet, yet I run a race that never ends. What am I?" Lila thought of the world outside this magical forest. She remembered the stories her grandmother told of the kingdom before the drought, of the powerful life force that carved its way through the land, carrying stories and feeding the earth. A confident smile bloomed on her face. "A river," she exclaimed. The fox's eyes seemed to sparkle with approval. "Correct," it confirmed. "Your mind is as clear as the water you seek." It then shifted slightly, the light around it seeming to intensify. "Now, for the second riddle. I am taken from a dark mine and locked away in a wooden case. I am never released, yet I am used by every face to tell a story or draw a line. What am I?" Lila furrowed her brow. "Taken from a mine, locked in wood, ... used by everyone." She thought of the scholars in the village square, the merchants tallying their goods, and the children learning their letters. She remembered holding one in her own hand, sketching out maps of imaginary lands. A small laugh escaped her lips. "A pencil," she said, her voice filled with the joy of discovery. The silver fox bowed its head again, a gesture of deep respect. "You are clever indeed, little adventurer." The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. "Only one riddle remains. But be warned, this one comes from the heart of the forest itself." The fox leaned forward, its voice dropping to a near whisper. "What shines brighter than all the glass in this forest, yet can never be broken?" This time, the answer wasn't in her mind, but in her heart. Lila thought of her journey, of the fear she had pushed through, of the love for her people that drove her onward. She knew what gave her the strength to face a forest of glass and a magical guardian. She closed her eyes, and the single, powerful word left her lips as a soft whisper: hope. For a moment, there was absolute silence. The entire glass forest seemed to freeze. Then, a brilliant, warm light erupted from the heart of the woods, washing over everything. It wasn't the cold, sharp light of glass, but a soft, gentle glow. The trees, which had seemed so menacing, now appeared beautiful, their branches blooming with radiant, ethereal light, like 1,000 flowers opening at once. The crystalline trees gracefully bent their branches, parting like a curtain to reveal a hidden clearing. There, in the center, was a pool of water so pure and clear it seemed to be made of liquid starlight. It pulsed with a soft, gentle light, and the sound of its bubbling was the sweetest music Lila had ever heard. This was the crystal spring. The silver fox guided her to the edge. "Your heart is true, Lila. The forest grants you its gift." With trembling hands, Lila knelt and filled her small flask from the glowing pool. The water felt cool and alive against the metal. Thanking the fox in the forest, she turned and hurried back the way she came, her steps light and her spirits soaring. When she arrived back at her village, she didn't hesitate. She ran to the central well, now just a deep, dry hole in the cracked earth, and poured a single, shimmering drop from her flask into the darkness. For a second, nothing happened. Then, a low rumble echoed from the depths. A gush of water erupted from the well, clear, cool, and endless, overflowing onto the parched ground. The miracle spread as rivers began to flow and fields drank their fill. The kingdom erupted in celebration. Lila became a hero. The king himself summoned her to the palace, offering her chests of gold and jewels. But Lila simply shook her head and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty, but I don't need gold. I just wanted everyone to have water to drink again." That night, as she stood by her window looking up at the moon, she caught her reflection in the glass pane. Cool. For a fleeting moment, her skin shimmered with the same crystalline light as the trees in the forest. But it wasn't a curse. She knew it was a gift. The forest hadn't turned her into glass. It had recognized the strength and light that were already inside her. It had made her brave heart shine forever. Thank you so much for joining me on Lila's incredible journey. If you loved this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more magical tales. See you next time.